Golf outings. Today, Butamore Country Club hosting the 36th annual Legends Golf Classic to benefit Children's Wisconsin. The event has raised millions for Children's, which continues to expand services and partnerships in Northeast Wisconsin. This year's featured patient is 8-year-old Will Gauthier, who spent 70 days in the neonatal intensive care unit. His artwork is adorning the flags and golf towels at today's outing, and that is where we find Chris Roth today.
And welcome everybody to Butamore Country Club. I'm alongside Maria Gauthier, whose parents not only have been sponsors of Children's Wisconsin for a very long time, but you're a patient family as well. So I want to take you back to when your son Will was born, who's now 8. He's doing great. He's out here helping the golfers today. But as a premature baby, he had a lot of health conditions, was in the NICU for a long time. Your parents had been sponsors for Children's for a long time before you were a patient family. So did that knowledge of what this resource was help you through a time, for any parent that's gone through it, is just so very difficult? So was there at least some help in knowing what this resource was?
Yes, definitely. It was great. And the collaboration that St. Elizabeth's had with Children's at the time, it brought me a lot of comfort knowing that we had a doctor there to help us through that really scary time.
One of the things that the generosity of your parents and others and all the people out here today has allowed Children's to expand and bring the services to where people are. They don't have to go to Milwaukee anymore. What did that mean for you to have the Children's people collaborating, the hospital in your backyard, with your son in the NICU?
It meant everything. I knew he was in amazing hands with all those doctors that filtered throughout his entire stay at the NICU. And it made things a little bit easier during that hard time.
When you saw what your parents had been doing over the years, and they're let's just say, I mean, for this golf outing, they're the second biggest sponsor of this, and they have been for a very long time.
Yes.
How much did you dig into it growing up, trying to understand what they were doing and why they were doing it, and how has your perspective changed now?
Yeah, and when I was younger, I really didn't understand everything. But now it's so important, and I know that I'm going to try to continue on the legacy for them, especially for my mom, who passed away in February. So
it was a big loss for, obviously, your family, no question, but for the children's community. How do you think you'll step into that role? What does that look like in your mind's eye right now?
Well, right now, just being part of events like this, bringing Will, telling our story, and just continuing down the road and in the future is to be involved with Children's in any way we can.
Well, you mentioned that your family had donated a lot of money. $2 million has gone to the NICU to redesign it here in Neenah. It's going to be named after your son. Does he have an understanding of what that means? His name's going to be on a wing, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, right now, not really, but I think as he gets older, he's going to understand and that appreciation, and it will always be there. And then, he can show his children one day, that his grandparents named a NICU after him.
We have seen, and one of the things about this golf outing has been, as we talked about earlier, this footprint expanding, right? Bringing it to the families all over Wisconsin so they don't have to just travel down to Milwaukee. How would you like to see that continue? What does that mean for you? Because a lot of these fundraising efforts go directly to that expansion.
Yes, I think that's great. I mean, it's so important to have people from the Valley be able to go really close rather than traveling. And I mean, the actual clinic is like 5 minutes from my house, which is incredible.
So all his follow-up stuff is right at that new Apple
Not right now, but we are, when we need it, it's there. Especially, I know that urgent care and everything, that's going to be incredible for everyone. And I can't wait to see what the future holds for children in Northeast Wisconsin.
What would your message be to parents out there who are going through difficult times? I mean, Brian Butch, basketball player, Appleton West, most people know around him, but he's been kind of taking the mantle here to recruit people for this golf outing. His family's had all 3 kids go through Children's. My daughter went through Children's. But the folks that are about to or are just starting out, what would your message be to them?
My message would be to just find support in others that have gone through a similar situation, and just know that they're in excellent hands with all these doctors through Children's and staff.
How important is it for patient families to not only to share their stories, to tell their stories, to get out there and say, there are successes?
Yes, it's so important because others that are going through something can maybe see a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's just knowing that they're not alone.
So we're going to have the new clinic up in Ashwaubenon is going to open in a couple of months here. Children's surgeons are now working in Bellin Hospital up in Green Bay. All this stuff is happening. This expansion is happening. This footprint is happening. Your family's been at the really core of this.
Yeah.
How do they all react to that? Where do you see your place in this really important resource delivering to people in Wisconsin all over?
Just continuing to support children's, either through donations or just like helping out at events, just sharing our story. I think that's really what's important, and that's what our future holds.
Well, Maria, thanks so much for sharing it
Thank
with
you.
us today.
Thanks,
and
Chris.
Will's going to make a couple of birdie putts for everybody.
Awesome. I can't wait.